average price, median price, or HPI. It's confusing. Why can't someone just tell you if you can afford the house you actually want? Well, in today's video, we're going to do exactly that. I'm going to break down 10 of our most popular areas, and I'm going to rank what it costs to get into a detached from the most affordable to the most expensive. I'm Sean P, and if you're new to the channel, we post videos every week to help you understand our real estate market. So if you always want to know the best strategies and what you get for your money in Victoria, make sure that you like and subscribe. Also, I'm a real estate broker, so if you have plans involving real estate, I want to help you, and you can use the link in the description to book some time with me. Let's jump into the numbers. Okay, so here's our goal in this video. We want to give you a good idea of what it costs to get into a detached home in the greater Victoria area. And to do this, what I've done is I've gone through all the sales for the past 6 months on our MLS system, and I've ranked all the areas that buyers shop from the lowest cost to the highest cost for median price. Now, if you're not familiar with median price, I think it's a better metric to use than average price in this instance. Here's the difference. Average price is where we look at all the sales and we average out the price that they sold from. Problem is, high-end sales tend to drag average price up to being higher than what is really representative of the experience a buyer has in that market. Median price, however, tells us where the middle line is. So imagine that we had a marketplace with 9 sales in the time period that we're measuring. Well, the median price would be the 5th sale because there would be 4 sales that were lower than it and 4 sales that were higher than it. And my experience is that median price usually gives a good idea of what a buyer should expect in a given marketplace. It's kind of the most common band of activity in a given market. Now, when I did my research, I ranked it into 10 areas most buyers ask about when looking in Victoria. And what I found really surprised me. If I take out the highest area and the lowest area, all the other ones fit between $1 and $1.3 million. This is a very tight band. Our market is extremely compressed. And this is typical of a market that has been in recovery for a couple of years, which is exactly where our market is. But there's one other thing that really stood out. Our detached market, the majority of the money that you spend to get into an entry-level detached home is on the land. So if you're buying for that $1 to $1.3 million mark, in most areas, you're going to be buying a house that really hasn't had much done to it. I'd say probably the first $700 to $1 million that you spend on your home is really just purchasing the land, and then the house itself is anything above that. So what you'll find is that when you upgrade the amount that you spend on a house, well, you tend to get a lot more when you move beyond the boundary of the median price. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at all 10 areas, starting with the most affordable and moving to the most expensive. And for each area, we're going to talk about what it costs to get in, what an average home costs, what it costs to get a house that has some really nice upgrades, and what the high end of the market is. We've got a lot to cover, so let's get into it. Number 1 on our list is Sidney. Sidney is our cute little seaside town right beside the airport near the ferries at the top of the peninsula. Now, Sidney had the lowest median price on our list at $965. I was surprised that it came in this low. I thought that Colwood or Brentwood Bay would beat it, but there is a tremendous amount of activity between the 800 and 1.1 million mark. And these are some nice homes. They'll be anywhere from 1,000 to 2,500 square feet. And depending on where you land in that range, you'll see, varying levels of finish and upgrades, and it'll also determine where in Sydney you land. One important note is that North Sydney tends to have higher prices because South Sydney is in line with the airport's main departure route. And so there's a lot of overhead noise. With everywhere in Victoria, you can spend 2 or 3 million or more in Sydney. We do have a lot of beautiful waterfront properties, but generally to get into a nice detached, if you're shopping between 1.1 and 1.3 million, you'll see a lot of nicely updated homes with really nice features. Okay, on to the next one. Next up on our list is Langford. And Langford is where you go if you want a newer detached at a very attractive sticker price. Langford had an median price in the past 6 months of $1,005,000. This is amazing considering what you get in Langford, and the starter price range for Langford is even more exciting. You can start getting into the detached market under the $700,000 mark. Now, for that median home, you'll be looking at something that's newer, over 2,000 square feet, 3 or 4 bedrooms, and this will be a home that is built to a nice standard in an active community. If you go a little bit above, say between 1.2 and 1.4 million, you get substantially more. You will get a much larger home. It will be brand new, often in a very nice area like Bear Mountain or Langford Lake. Often these will come with legal suites, either above the garage or in the lower level of the property. And these are beautiful upgraded homes with high-end finishes. Now, in Langford, we also have Bear Mountain, which is the resort community, so you can absolutely get into the $3 million range quite quickly, but there's a surprising amount of activity at every price point, so it's an interesting market to shop. I've got to keep moving though because we've got a long list. Number 3 on the affordable side is Saanich West. Now, this is a diverse and large area. It covers Saanich, essentially everything west of the highway going up the peninsula. So we're talking about Tillicum, Royal Oak, the Gorge area. It has some diversity, and the median price in Saanich West was $1,086,000. But you can start getting into Saanich West around the $800,000 mark. The 1.086 median will get you a nicely updated 2,000 plus square foot 3 or 4 bedroom home on a nice lot in a good neighborhood. So in Saanich West, the nice thing is you're actually getting into nice product at that median price range. If you go up from there to around 1.3 to 1.5, you'll just get more space, more updates, and depending on what part of the community you're in, you might be close to the waterfront, like for example, if you're along the Gorge. The high-end price in Saanich West typically goes to acreage properties. This is a mixed use area, and we do have some agricultural protected zones in Saanich West, so you might end up on 10 plus acres if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for, while still being really close to downtown. Number 4 on our list is Colwood. Now, I thought that this would have been lower on the list because there are a lot of transactions for affordable homes in Colwood, but the reality is there's also a lot of transactions in the 1.4, 1.5, and 1.6 range. And so the median price for Colwood over the past 6 months was $1,112,000. Getting into Colwood, you can start to see detached product in the mid 7s, and it'll be nicer, smaller properties. They won't be completely run down, but you'd probably choose to do a few things. Around the median price, you get a nice home. You could have something that's a little bit smaller, say around 1,800 to 2,200 square feet. That's newer, or you could get a larger 3,000 square foot plus property on a larger lot in an older subdivision from the 1960s, 70s, 80s. Now, Colwood continues steadily. There's transactional volume anywhere from 800,000 all the way up to 1.45. There's a ton of transactions. In the higher end, typically you're seeing things that are closer to the water. We're talking Royal Bay and Olympic View are both areas where you get water views. You're in an established, newer community, and there's a lot of amenities. It's a great area with a little bit of something for everyone, but I've got to keep moving with our list. Next on our list is View Royal. Now, View Royal is the community that sits between the downtown core and the West Shore. It's often overlooked, and in the past 6 months, there were only 19 sales. With that, the median price was $1,195,000, and for that, you're going to get a lot of house. You'll get between 2,500 and 3,000 square feet with 3 or 4 bedrooms. These are 70s, 80s, and 90s homes for the most part on larger private lots, 1,000 or 8,000 square feet. And the homes that landed in that median range were comfortable. Getting into the detached market starts around $900,000, though you might find something that needs a lot of work a little bit lower than that. And once you get into the 1.1 to 1.3 range, the houses are really nice. There are sales going up beyond that all the way into the mid 2s, but they're very infrequent. And View Royal is generally a good place to look if you want to be able to get up island quickly and you value some privacy while still being close to downtown. The 4th most expensive area to buy a detached in Victoria is actually the Victoria Core. And this came in with a median price of $1,214,000. We'll say this is neck and neck with Central Saanich. I'll explain the difference in a moment. Now, I could do a whole other video like this just on Victoria Core because it is a diverse area. It's the original foundation of our city. Generally, it can be divided into two camps. James Bay, Fairfield, and Rocklands are the expensive part, and then there's the rest of it. If you want to be in those areas, the median price of $1,214,000 will get you a fixer-upper. Depending on where it is and the condition it's in, it could be anywhere from 1,800 to 3,000 square feet. And in the other areas, you'll get the same house, but completely updated for around that same price. Now, pricing in Victoria is all over the place because you can get a 700 square foot detached, or you can get a brand new custom built detached right by the water. Things start in the 700s and they go up well past the 4 million range. In general, this one's a little bit tricky to include in this list because, again, it could be a whole video on its own. Okay, we're in the top three, and this is Central Saanich. Now, Central Saanich came in at $1,215,000, again, neck and neck with Victoria Core. And similarly, it's also got a bit of a dichotomy. We have areas like Brentwood Bay and Tanner Ridge where you get a lot more value for your dollar, but then we have a lot of high-end luxury sales in Central Saanich because it's where you find estate properties and estate communities like Dean's Park. Generally speaking, the detached market starts around the 900 mark and goes all the way up to sales for more than $5 million in the past 6 months. In Tanner Ridge and Brentwood Bay, around the median price, you can expect to get a nice home with some updates on a private big lot, which is close to amenities. And that'll probably be a 4-bedroom to 5-bedroom home with around 3,000 square feet. If you're shopping in the larger area, what most people are picking up is larger lots, anywhere from 1 to 5 plus acres, with either a view or a really nice home on it. And we see a lot of this activity in the 1.5 to 2 million range. It's a beautiful set of areas to explore, and it's number 3 on our list. Number 2 on our list is Saanich East, and this one didn't surprise me at all. Saanich East occupies the eastern shoreline, starting right at the bottom of the peninsula, going all the way down to Oak Bay. So it includes things like Cordova Bay, Broadmead, 10 Mile Point, Gordon Head, and Cadborough Beach. These are amazing areas, and Saanich East tends to have larger homes. The median price was $1,258,000 for a detached, and generally that will get you a nice home. You're probably looking at around 3,000 square feet on a 7 to 10,000 square foot lot, and depending on whereabouts it is, it'll have varying levels of upgrades. It's very common to find rental suites or income helpers in Saanich East, so that can be something that helps as well. Getting in starts around 900, and there is consistent activity all the way up to the $3 million mark. So really just depends where you want to land. But if you are spending between $1.5 and $2 million, you get a really nicely updated home, something that's still 1960s or 70s, but has been completely remodeled in a beautiful street in a private setting. There's a ton of great properties in Saanich East. Number 1 on our list is Oak Bay. Now, I know that part didn't surprise anybody, but just how much the price jumps will. The median price in Oak Bay in the past 6 months was $1,735,000. That's almost $500,000 next to Saanich East, and everything else plays below that. Here's the craziest part. $1.7 million doesn't even get you that much in Oak Bay. In Oak Bay, for around the 1.7 mark, you're looking at either a fixer-upper in a really, really nice location, or more commonly, somewhere that's still very nice, but not absolutely prime, that has a newer kitchen and some updates. These are still going to be 1940s or 90s homes, so they come with all those quirks. And generally speaking, you can't even really get into Oak Bay under $1 million. There's a couple that come in on really busy streets that are in bad locations, but for the most part, you're looking at 1.3 to 1.5 to get into something that's livable. Around the median price, you're looking at something that has some updates. And then there's consistent transactional volume all the way up to about 3.5 million, with the highest sale in the past 6 months being $6.5 million for a beautiful new waterfront home. So there you have it. Our ranking of the least to most affordable areas to buy a detached in 2026. Now, a couple things I just want to remind you of. The first $700 to $1 million gets you the land. So remember, if you want a nice house, choose one of the more affordable areas in your price range and just spend a little bit higher than that. You'll get into something that has already had all the work done. The other thing to remember is that our market is currently compressed. When our market starts to rebound from the recession we've had in our real estate market from the past few years, it's going to expand. So if you're thinking about an upgrade, now is a time that this will be easier. 2 or 3 years from now, it will likely be a very different picture. And most importantly, as always, statistics only can tell us the generalities of a market. So if you want to discuss your specific plans and get my take on it, I'd love to help. You can use the link in the description to jump on a call with me. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate it. It helps us put these videos in front of the right people, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.